Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. So, with long-time MAGA spokesperson Steve Bannon saying that Trump will be gearing up for a third term, and Trump himself then saying, well, there's nothing to stop me running again, is there anything clearly barring the orange one from outstaying his welcome? If he refuses to step down, is there anything that will actually stop him? But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button to stay notified. So The Guardian sportingly brought out a short article discussing the ways Trump might try to remain president. It contained little potential loopholes like, running as vice president, then having his puppet president stand down, or becoming Speaker of the House and having a puppet president and VP stand down. The article proudly proclaims, no, it's fine. Trump cannot serve a third term because it's unconstitutional. At no point, however, does the explainer bother to address the question, what happens if Trump doesn't care about the Constitution? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Trump can do this. I certainly hope he won't be able to. But we have to stop saying that Trump won't be able to do it because it's not allowed. This is not a clinching argument, right? I mean, I don't think it's even a serious argument these days. Oh, he can't do it because it's not allowed. Have you woken out of a 12-month coma or something? Have you not paid attention to the last 9 months? Like, what if Trump just says he's not leaving the White House and nobody stops him because those who are in a position to defend the Constitution have taken the King's shilling? Like, who stops him? Congress might be too tame. What if Trump has destroyed the reputation of Republicans so badly that their only hope is to go all in and support Trump's unconstitutional coup? What if the Supreme Court feel the same way? If they are too closely tied to the atrocities which Trump is already committing, and with another few years of them still to come, that the very powers who could and should stop him are in too deep and back him out of pure self-interest. I'd like to think that most states, the ones who actually organise the elections, wouldn't go along with it, even Republican ones, nor the other courts, but then would that just invite accusations of ceding from the federal United States and basically triggering something close to civil war? Will the views of ordinary Americans be the deciding factor? Will enough Americans see what Trump is doing and demand he is stopped? Or will his cult have too strong a hold on people? It's all very difficult to know because not only are we talking about something very complicated, and it may surprise you to learn I'm not an expert on US constitutional law, and we're also talking about, of course, a different country to my own, but literally an unprecedented assault on the US Constitution. It's never been tested like this before, not even close. Maybe it will turn out to be stronger than Trump believes. Maybe it won't. But what are the ways, theoretically, in which Trump can be stopped? Well, the issue of standing for a third term has been discussed for a while, before even last year's election, which is because Trump has been hinting at it for a while now. Remember, during the election campaign, he just told his supporters, you just have to vote for me one more time, and that's it. That's it, just one more time. So, what have various reports come up with as barriers whenever it's come up? The first and fastest legal weapon is the lawsuit. A president issues an executive order that looks like an unconstitutional power grab. The quickest way to stop it is to challenge it in court. Almost immediately, you've got groups like the Campaign Legal Centre, ACLU and so on, even the Democrats. They can file lawsuits to block illegal actions. The goal of the litigation is to get a court to issue an injunction, basically an order that freezes a policy while the legal battle plays out. And it has a track record of working. During the first Trump administration, there were dozens of judges appointed by presidents from both parties, including Trump himself, who ruled against his administration's actions on a wide range of issues. However, we've seen these tactics used against Trump's power grabs this year, and we've seen Trump essentially decide, oh yeah, the mistake I made in my first term was going along with it. I'm just going to ignore the courts, which is what he's done. The second weapon is quieter, the enforcement of existing laws by federal agencies who are designed to have some independence. So while the president leads the executive branch, you've got a lot of agencies like the Federal Election Commission and traditionally the Department of Justice. They're structured to be insulated from direct political control. Yes, you've spotted the small flaw here, haven't you, straight away? We've already seen the Department of Justice's independence destroyed. He ordered them to indict people he doesn't like, despite having no evidence. They said, sorry, Mr. President, there's no evidence. And he said, I want them indicted anyway. And they've gone, all right then. The fact that Trump is openly talking about a third term means he has people working on smoothing the path to it. If any independent bodies are identified as being able to impede him, you can bet they are working on taking control of them right now. Remember, a big part of Project 2025 was replacing senior officials with people loyal to MAGA. I'm not sure independent bodies are going to be of much help unless the Supreme Court and Congress start standing up to Trump's power grabs. Speaking of which, Congress could build a more permanent defence, the legislative shield. You know, this is all about passing new laws to reinforce democratic norms that look a bit shaky. Going, yeah, we thought that was a bit of a defence for democracy, but it's looking a bit weak. We're going to strengthen it. They can protect voting rights. They can strengthen the castle walls against future attacks. The obvious problem here is that Trump has reasonable control over Congress. Some Republicans are scared of going against Trump, either because he can end their political careers or maybe even fear of physical violence. The Democrats seem to think that the midterms will sort it all out. What if they don't? What if they don't take place as anything like free and fair elections? Trump is not sitting idly by and waiting for democracy to clip his wings, but his opponents do seem to be doing very little to counter him. If the formal checks and balances fail, the final weapon isn't one thing technically, but it's a powerful network of pro-democracy organisations. You've got various groups who are experienced at maintaining that vigil over democratic norms. They're non-governmental reinforcements that often lead the charge. These organisations are staffed by some of the country's top experts on constitutional law and elections. They conduct very deep research. They identify threats to democracy long before they hit the headlines. For example, they were amongst the first to actually dissect the Project 2025, 900 pages of it, warning that it represented a clear threat to American democracy. And now that it is, they're not sat there going, we told you so. They are now working on the next fight. They are expert litigators. These groups file their own lawsuits, often submit amicus briefs or like friend of the court briefs to give judges expert legal arguments in cases brought by others. Beyond the courtroom, these organisations educate the public. They lobby Congress for reforms like, the John R. Lewis Act. They provide critical legal advice to election officials. It's a pro-democracy network functioning as an immune system for American democracy, essentially. Constantly monitoring for threats, mobilising defences, working to build long-term resilience. But Trump and Miller also know about this as well. We know that they are determined to remain in power. Trump has said it often enough, and who really believes he's building a grand ballroom at the White House, which won't be completed before this term ends, just so someone else can use it. Now, as far as Donald Trump is concerned, he's moved into the White House and he's going to remain there for a long time to come. He has been moving very quickly to take control of all of the levers of power, not just those the president is supposed to have. And that's because he knew he didn't just have until the next presidential election. He didn't think to himself, right, Don, mate, you've got 4 years to sort it out. No, he knew he had less time than that, about a year and a half, the midterms. If he loses control of even one house in Congress, his plans could unravel. He's not planning on leaving that to chance. And although I hope there really is some strong defence in the American Constitution, which is a barrier to him seizing power beyond his term, I've yet to see it being credibly presented in any article on the subject. I just keep seeing articles going, oh, he can't do it, it's against the Constitution. And then they'll follow it up by going, and he doesn't have the power to change the Constitution. We've seen him have the power to ignore the Constitution, though, haven't we? I mean, you just think about it. All those times people keep saying, oh, I feel Britain needs a written constitution. We have one, by the way. You mean a codified constitution. But never mind. A written constitution. You need a written constitution like us. Ours is great. Is it? Have you got a constitution then? Yeah, we've got a great constitution. Okay. Does it work? Oh, no, it doesn't really work these days, does it? Yeah. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.